is Bold TV.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, online audience. Welcome to another episode of Bold TV. Beautiful, outstanding ladies with disabilities, where we talk about disabilities and issues related to disabilities. This program is brought to us live every Saturday, 10:30 a.m., powered by Bold Heart Initiative. So if you enjoy this program, you like this program, we solicit for a support in our subscription so that the program can go on and on. If you're out there, you can like our program, our episodes, like it, go to our YouTube channel, Facebook channel, like it, comment, share as much as you can. And also, if you want to be a guest, a woman with disability, you can call on the host. Most times we are up to 5, at times we are 4, 3, depending on our different schedules. And our names are always on the screen. So you can write to us and tell us if you want to participate or whatever way you want to partake in Bold TV. So before I go deeply, I have a co-host in the house. So I'd like the ladies in the house to introduce themselves. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Good morning to you, wherever it is you are watching us at this point in time. We bid you warm welcome. My name is Uluwatomisin Adeyefa. I'm a broadcast journalist, a disability inclusion facilitator, the executive director of Popular Abilities Initiative. Feels really good to be here, and I'm a visually impaired woman based in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Osaki, thank you for having me.
You're welcome, Tomisin. Nice to have you on this episode. My name is Kochoge Passion, and I'm a health and business consultant, and I'm an above-knee amputee. I stay in Makurdi, Benue State. Yes, so that's who I am.
All right, thank you very much. I'm your host for today. I remain Osaki Teresa George. I reside in Port Harcourt, River State on a freelancer and a farm. I'm so glad to be here. So today we have an interesting topic, a topic that you wonder if we also experience it. And the topic is fear. Fear is not an option for a woman with disability, because fear is what's in between. The moment you have this challenge, this disability, either you have it as a birth or childhood or at a stage, one happens to get disability, fear will always come, a fear of different things. So today we want to talk about that fear. It's something that one cannot avoid. It's how you manage it and how you cope with that determines how you can face fear. So I'll start with what is fear. Okay, please put your voice. What do you think? What is fear?
Okay, so fear, in my own understanding, is an unpleasant feeling, and such feelings is mostly when there is an uncertainty or danger or panic. So your heart will be racing. You are scared. You don't know what the outcome would be. You know what the future would be, or So it's very unpleasant. It's an uncertainty. And for some people, they use the acronym FEAR to define it. Yes, so it depends on your mindset. Yes, so fear in a negative term. Let me begin with the negative, move to the positive. So fear is, for people who have a negative mindset, it means forget everything and run. Do you understand? Forget everything and run. That's the meaning of fear. And instantly you are running from your challenges, from whatever is making you scared. And then for someone who is optimistic, who is positive minded and believes that it can only get better, no matter the situation, I am moving ahead. So for such a person, it means face everything and rise. So when you face your challenges, you see that fear becomes your friend, because it becomes like an experience. So when people go through a process, for a positive minded person, the person will tell you it's an experience. So that is what I think fear is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'd like Thomas to add our own voice on what is fear.
Thank you very much. And Oge has done justice to the definition. Fear could be positive, it could also be negative. It's an emotion, actually. It's a feeling. It's something within you that sparks when you are faced with certain situations, And like we said, it could be positive, it could be negative. Now, imagine you're about to achieve something great. Maybe you're about to do your final exams that's going to grant you maybe a master's degree. You've read, you've done all that you can, but you just cannot but still be anxious. You can't but still be scared that, oh, I don't want anything to go wrong. I don't want. So at that point in time, if you have fear, if you're afraid, you are going to start putting measures in place that will put your mind at rest. That is when fear becomes like a propellant into positivity. But if at that point that you develop that fear, you develop that anxiety, you develop that skepticism, you let it overshadow you, you let it weigh you down, you let it cloud your judgment and your sense of reasoning, and then you run, like Oge has said, that is when fear has, overpowered you. So fear is actually an emotion. It could be, it's every human being at one point in our life or the other, we experience it, we exhibit fear. You can't be fearless. Trust me, even the fearless one, at some point, deep down in their mind, they are anxious to see what comes out, and that is in itself, it's fear. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tommy C, for elaborating more on fear. Like I would just say in my own terms on the negative angle of fear. Fear is when you perceive something bad or dangerous, and that's stress, that everything sad comes up to your mind. Like we used to have an acronym which you just said. What I used to know is false evidence appearing real. That whatever you're seeing or you're thinking, it's not true. So just to help so that one can not really dwell on that thing they think that's giving you that propelling the fear angle. So we are still going to our question. Next one is what are some fears you have experienced that are directly related to disability? Now we are back to women and disability. So what are those fears that I had disability at an early age as a baby? So at that age, there was no fear, no child scared of anything. But when you're growing into a child, adult, a girl, teenager, adult, there will be fear. As in a lot of fear. Like, what kind of woman are you going to grow into? How will the society accept you, or you accept society? What's their illusion? What's your perceive? How are you going to cope with life? So I'm going to throw that question back to that. What are some fears you have experienced that are directly related to your disability? Okay, I'll start with you.
Okay, thank you. So as a person with disability, our fears are double. Because one, as a human being, you will fear. And then when you become a person with disability, you become a special case. So there will be some things that will be going on in your mind, or a person with disabilities, things will be running. So some of those things, one is fear of rejection or fear of acceptance. Because how do people perceive you? You see that when it comes to mingling with others in the society or in a relationship, you start having fears. Am I going to be rejected? Not because of you are a human being, but because you have a disability. You understand? Sometimes you may even have someone who cares, who really loves you, but he can't really explain the fact that he loves a person with disability to his family or friends and all that. So that's one of the fear of rejection. Then fear of being a burden to other people. It's not easy. You need help. Even a normal person needs help. Not to talk of when you have a disability. But sometimes when it becomes too much, it now looks as if you are a liability. Anybody who is, have potentials don't want to be like a burden to anybody. They want to do things on their own. And in the process of trying to do things on your own, there is another fear that sets in. The fear of independence. You are going to lose your independence. You lose it because you need to depend on others in order to stand. Because there are certain things you can't do due to your disability. You need help. But sometimes this help becomes excessive so that you become like a toy. You understand? You even have to start saying it to them. Hey, it's okay. I'm not a toy. Let me get to do some of these things for myself. If I need help, I will call on you. Do you understand? So it gets to that point when it looks like you are losing your independence and you need to speak out. So these are some of the fears. I believe some other persons will get to speak, but fear of acceptance, fear of rejection, fear of being a burden, and fear of losing your independence. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Oge Passion. Tell me, see that question to you. What are some of the fears you have experienced that are directly related to a disability?
All right, thank you very much, Osaki. In addition to what Oge has highlighted as some of the fears that we as women with disabilities we encounter, would be fear of the future. Especially for those of us who had our disability much later in life, who at the time before you got your disability, before you had the accident or the surgery or whatever it is that led to the disability, you had plans for yourself. And so at that point, when you are a woman with a disability, a lot of what the society expects you to become or what you see yourself becoming, you are not sure anymore. You are very much uncertain. And so that fear of, oh, am I going to go through this? How am I going to come out of this? Am I still going to be a person to reckon with? Am I still going to enjoy my future and things like that? That kind of fear. Another kind of fear that we experience is fear of acceptance. Okay, so even with all my worth, with all the academics, with all the job, the money and everything, will people still see me as human being? Will I still be treated as a human being? You are so much afraid. You are going into a space and you are wondering who is staring at me, who is looking at me, who is laughing at me, who is not looking at me, and all of those things. So these are some of the fears that we carry around us. Another kind of fear is the fear of losing. Now, as a person with a disability, when you are being tasked with, when you are being assigned a task, because you don't want people to look down on you, you don't want people to see you as a subhuman or someone who is incompetent or incapable because of a disability, you have that fear of failing. You have that fear of losing. Oh, I don't want to make mistakes. I don't want to be seen as a weakling. I don't want to be seen as somebody who is incapable, who is incompetent. I don't want people to see me and think my disability would always, come in the way of my capabilities and my competence. So we also have that fear within us, the fear that we don't want to lose, we don't want to fail, we don't want to be seen as a weak person. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much. You said so much on fear. In my own case, from a baby to a child, to a teenager, and adult, my greatest fear then was independence. I was so scared that will I really be independent? Because I'm used to helping me all along, doing everything for me. So will I be one day on my own, do things for myself, have my own voice? Because another thing that I was scared of was voice. If someone is helping you, people are saying, of course, they will speak for you. So that voice of, will I ever one day have a voice? Will I be able to do something for myself? That was another greatest fear. So I needed to push through with every energy I have so that whatever I'm scared, that fear does not come to reality. Another fear I had was being a mother. It's more that fear, like having a family, have a child, do all those house chores, run around. It's a lot of things that come in between to play. Like, how will it be at the end of the day? Another fear is a career choice of life, to be a professional, whatever you want to be, career, have this kind of optimistic person. One other fear that really troubled me somehow was growing up was a graduate. Because when I see people wearing the NYC uniform, I'm so thrilled. Like, I just love the uniform. So all of them were like, one day am I going to wear this NYC uniform, So I have to do a lot. And because of the circumstance surrounding one's life, it's not easy. Especially when your background don't have the basic support you need to have. You struggle through everything. The fear is not funny. The fear is jolty. But as a human being, no matter the circumstance, and with faith and people around you, we just have to push through. And somehow fear gave way. So all of those things I was scared of are the things I think I'll beat my chest and say, okay, thank God I passed through all of this and I'm still passing through. I'm not finished, I'm still passing through, which I know someday it will be a story to think about what we are saying. So our third question goes like this. Are there specific situations that trigger fear for you, such as public spaces, medical issues, professionalism, emotional, personal? What could trigger this fear that you think? Why this fear? Why are we scared of the uncertainties? What do you think that would trigger it? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so for me, fear will always come, sure because we are humans, and sometimes because of uncertainty, maybe in scenarios where you've never done something before, or you've done something but you stopped, and going back to it, you are like, are you sure I can do this thing again? So I've had these scenarios play out, and one of it was, I remember I did not get to drive. Let me start from when I started driving. I started driving when I had a disability. I had to learn how to drive so that at least I could do things for myself. I will not be in a place. So I was able to do that. And then I drove for like 3 years, if not 4. And then I stopped driving. I changed location and all that. And then afterwards, I didn't get to drive again for like 1 year. So when I see people driving, I'll be saying, okay, are you sure you can do this? You understand? So when I came back to start driving again, it was not an easy one. I became so scared. But finally, I got to start driving, and now I'm enjoying it. And that's to say, as a person with disability, sometimes you are scared of the things you used to do. You will now be wondering if you can still function in those areas again. So that is one. Then, for some things you've never done before, like sometimes I'll just be thinking, okay, settling down as a person with disability in marriage, how is it going to be like giving birth to kids, raising kids, I'll say, but you're a strong person, but you love children, you support children and all of those things. But because I've never done it before, I'll be scared. Are you sure you can do it? You understand? But when I see people like Tommy, see people like Nwafo, and all that, and even Blessing Ochedo, I'm like, okay, yes, even you, Osaki, you understand? Yes, I can do it. Yes, you're married, an expectant mother, I believe. So I'll be able to do it. One day I'll find myself in marriage, I'll get pregnant and deliver just like every other woman and have children. You understand? So these are fears, but of course you have to be positive and tell yourself that you can face it. And then another fear, the last fear I would say is sometimes when I'm called to give maybe a presentation. So most times online is suitable for me because I can just do my thing, flex my thing very easily. Nobody even knows I have a disability. But when you now say, okay, come to my office, do this, do that, sometimes I can go. I'm confident to speak and everything. But then I may have challenges. Maybe the weather is not conducive for my prosthesis. Maybe my prosthesis is bad. I will now start using crutches. How will people look at me using a crutches, being that I've been used to using a prosthesis? Sometimes people don't even know I have a disability. They just think maybe it's her leg, but maybe she had some issues and she's just moving that way. You understand? They don't even understand that the leg was completely amputated. Or the weather is too hot and I'm trying to manage the prosthesis or something. How will people be looking? Will that be now attention? Their attention will now be on my prosthesis or on my crutches, or they will be listening to what I'm really saying to them. So these are the fears I used to have. It's not easy being a person with disability. We have a lot of fears, but you have to be positive and believe you can do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, tell me, say, what are some of the facts that could trigger this fear as a woman with disabilities?
Thank you very much, Osaki, for that question. And I'm going to be giving you real life experiences of situations that I found myself that have triggered fear within me. First is when I got pregnant and I was going to have my baby. Now I had this fear of how am I going to push the baby? How am I going to care for the baby? Would I even be a good mother? Would I be able to, what if my baby is, if I'm breastfeeding my baby and because I cannot see a part of my breast, hinders the baby from breathing and then the baby dies. I thought about so many things that, okay, would I be able to bathe my baby without having an accident? What if I carry her and she drops? So all of these fears were in my head. They are fears that I would read. The funniest thing is when you read some of these books or some of these apps, you go online, they don't adapt some of these tips to suit you as a woman with a disability. A lot of these tips, this know-how, do it yourself that they give to you, are just general for everybody. And so adapting it as a woman with disability too, you have to put some conscious effort. So I had that fear in my head. And now, my baby is about 2 years, almost 2 years, should be 2 years at the end of this month. And so I I think if I'm going to be having another baby now, or I see somebody who is a woman with disability and is having a baby, I can tell the person that, see, all those fears, all those things you are thinking about is just in your head. It's really nothing that you should get worked up or worked over. Another kind of fear that I've experienced recently is when I got my admission into the MWF, that's the Mandela Washington Fellowship, and that's my very first trip out of the country. Like, I've never been out of Nigeria before, and the very first trip you're going to the US. So that brought in a lot of skepticism, brought in a lot of fear. I didn't know if, and of course you also have the fear of being accepted into another country where, your kind of color is not widely acceptable, and then you are also coming with a disability. I played so many scenarios, ugly scenarios in my head because I was afraid. That feeling just comes naturally because that was my first time. I've never done that before. And like Oge said, usually too, when I'm, stepping into a new position or a new territory, an unfamiliar territory, I tend to have jitters as well. I tend to develop that feeling that, I'm afraid. What's there to expect? What can happen? What's the worst? And then I start playing very good and worst scenarios. Okay, if this happens, what do I do? If this happens, what do I do? If that happens, what do I do? And so those are some of the lived experiences I have had with fears.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. All of those are the factors that could linger fear one way or the other. Like, as for me, what triggered fear was confidence. Not like what you and Oge right say. Not like I don't have confidence on. I'm a person with disability. They're using the crutches like identity. This person is not well. This person with disability. So the speaking, as long as I'm going to sit down and talk, it's okay. But the moment I'm to stand and be on the stage, because from my vision that they come to the stage, you went to work, it's funny. So that eyes, people looking at you, that is this, the bone of contention there. So the eyes of the audience could even just make me fall at once. So everything will just start. So that confidence of, I don't care how I work. That's the only way I can work. I can work at work, whatever way you can call it. When we are little, some of us to stop work. I tell you, so what to work on with our crutches one after the other, we'll be jumping. So the rest of us will say, why are you jumping? Are you a dog or whatever? That only animals that jump, that human beings walk. So because of the posture or the way disability is, our movement is not straight. Our movement is scattered. So when they call you to the podium, or whatever they call you, your movement alone has destabilized. Except you have to really, really say, I don't care. This is how I move, whether you like it or not. Listen, just allow me, So that was a very strong fear that came up when, as life goes on. Anyway, that was a very strong one that I think that triggered fear. Movement was a serious issue. So I think that there are a lot of factors, but I think we're about to wind up. Now the fourth question is how to cope with this fear. So how do you cope with moments when fear feels overwhelming? It's so much like I would say back to a movement. If I'm going to the stage or the podium and I'm to give a talk or whatever, I just tell myself, this is the best step you have. Don't worry yourself, move. Nothing will happen. And because of that fear, the slightest, if there are cables on the floor, you just fall. So even though I fall, I say it's part of it. It's sort of where I'm a person with disability. Yes. I stand up, dust myself, carry myself, no matter the issue. And if I notice that you're looking at me too much, I smile at you and greet you. So that destabilizes most people that just stare. Once you stare, I say, okay, thank God, let me help this person. If it's a child, it's even easier. How are you? What's your name? But an adult, I'll just smile, good morning, man, good morning, sir. Before the person will just change, The person wants to exchange that pleasantry back. And before you know it, you can start maybe becoming friends and everything will just succumb. So that's how I have coped with fear. And I've told myself, there's no best version of me. I cannot change myself. This is it. So I live with it. Fear is okay, but how you cope with it is that's the problem. You don't remain in the fear. You move ahead of fear. So, okay, let me hear your own version, how you cope with this fear when you're very overwhelmed.
Okay, yes. It's very important to know that everybody in life experiences fear. Okay? So you don't need to be too hard on yourself, especially when you have a disability. So I would name some scenarios. Like, for instance, your affirmations matter. Okay. Like, I remember that I do have falls. Like, I fall down. Maybe with my prosthesis or my crutches, or I'm just limping, jumping, like you said. I jump a lot, especially when I'm in the house. Yes, it's a normal thing. It's even part of exercise. You understand? Because I cannot be carrying crutches everywhere, especially when I'm going to the bathroom or when I'm going to the kitchen or while I'm in the kitchen. I will drop that crutches by the side and then do what I want to do, around my kitchen, around my parlor. I don't need to be carrying crutches every time I stand. I will carry. No, that is my house. I need to be used to it. So I will jump. I can jump from my room to my parlor to my kitchen. I can jump to my bathroom. My bathroom is inside my house. I must not carry crutches. But at some point, you will get to fall. Whether you are wearing your prosthesis or with the crutches, accident is an accident. So when you fall, you have to rise up. You will stand up. You will affirm. You will be bold. And I've ever fallen, I think, but the falls are not always. It's occasionally. So in a year, I know that I may fall like once or twice, max 3 times. But they are not the same type of falls. So the last fall I had was sometime in February or so, when I went out with a friend. Yes. So I went out with him and we went to eat. So I was complaining about the terrain, that I didn't like this terrain. But then I just said, let me just go. So on getting out of the car, my prosthesis was bad. This thing now loosed from the, that thing used to have a hook. So somehow it now loosed and I didn't know. So for me to take the next step, I didn't know that the thing was already back. So immediately I just moved. I saw myself on the ground and everybody was staring. So the guy had to come and help me up. He now asked me, should we go back? I looked at him and I said, go back to where? Let's go now. It's part of the disability now. I have fallen. I have stood up. I am an inspiration to people. Don't people fall in life? At least they have learned something, that when they fall, they will stand up and keep moving. And that was how we entered the place. And everybody was, wow. They were looking at me and looking at the man and looking at, our confidence. We finished eating there and I walked out. He was telling me, let him come and help. I said, don't worry, I can move. If I fall, I will stand up. It's not part of life. You understand? So everybody was amazed. So what I'm saying in essence is, your affirmations matter. What you say to yourself matter. Last week we looked at affirmations. What we say to ourselves as people with disability matter. And how we carry ourselves with boldness, with confidence. We are passing a message to the world that disability is not being disabled. That disability is not the end. That everybody has a disability, but they are not the same. And when you fall, you stand up and continue to move. That is the message. So thank you. That's how I cope.
Thank you very much. This scenario is a typical person. Anybody that is just crutches up, so whatever you call it, I say fear is always. Tomorrow I still fall. And funny enough, growing up as a child, when we started using crutches and calipers, the fall was steady, like normal. Every time you fall, and we never had. The last time I had a serious injury was when I think I don't know what happened to I fell down and my ear, whatever, got stuck into a nail or something, and blood came out and stopped. And that time was when I sat on my foot, I think so, one of those stuffs, and it got twisted, my ankle got twisted. But all of those 4 are just painful at that time. After that time, you get a relief. And the last one I fell was when I was going to church, I think so, on my street, and my street road is not even good. As adult, currently, I fell down. I was carrying some stuff. When I'm carrying some stuff, that fall is always there. And people were like, where's our husband? Where is this one? Where is that? I said, hey, we should be again. So we came to my sisters and they helped me. But yes, I felt sad because I had some bruises. But that was just it. It didn't go further than that. I continued my movement. I can't go back. I was going somewhere. So, the point is when you fall, stand up, dust yourself and move. And people learn. And people say, wow, this lady is strong. People give you a thumbs up without them knowing they're giving you a thumbs up. Inside that fall that you're struggling with life. And nature has a way of doing that. No matter the fall, I think we've never fallen a fall that landed us to the hospital or broken leg or broken something. None of that kind. You only just feel a pain after a while.
It's an experience.
Yes. So that's a really one. And why I like both people, we share life experience, not book like what Thompson said. That things you read in book. My sister is not book. These are people with what they're sharing. So Tommy, say, how do you cope when fear is overwhelming?
Audio now unmuted.
Okay, so for me, reassurance, self reassurance is very important. So when I am faced with difficult situations and I am afraid, I have fears written all over me, I just try and reassure myself that, yes, girl, you got this. You can do this. This is, meant for you. Another way I overcome my own fears is actually making research. So I find out about situations, I find out about people that have, gone through what I am going through or something. I read a lot. I read books, novels, storybooks, just to be sure that, oh, I am not all alone in the world. So I make research. And then another technique for me that works is talking to people about my fears, especially people that I trust. I talk to people about my fears. Oh, I want to do this. I feel scared. I don't know what to expect. Now, it may be people who have had experiences in what I'm about to do. And so they share their own experiences with me, and I'm able to pick one or two things to hold on to as lessons. Praying to God also for support, because there's no bigger support system than the creator of you whom you believe in. Going to God with all your fears, like, God, this is it. This is me just as I am. I don't know what to do. Put me through, guide my footsteps. Now, these are practical things that I do to ensure when I'm faced with fear. And breathing techniques. When, for instance, I'm about to make a presentation, I breathe in a lot. Breathe in, breathe out. I try to catch my breath. I try to calm my nerves by just taking deep breath. And I say this to myself jokingly when I'm in the presence of a crowd. Come on now, you cannot see them, so why are you afraid? Even though it looks like I'm self-harassing, like I'm harassing myself, but I just say to myself, come on, you can't see them. So if they like, let them stay. If they like, let them eye you one kind. You can't even see them in the first place. So just go ahead and do your thing. So I say that to myself as well. And it works for me, and I just have this positive mindset towards everything, even when I am failing, even when it looks like, oh, I am doing this thing and it is not bringing out the desired result. I try as much as possible to see the positivity in that which I am doing. And so sometimes I just give myself a pat on the back and said, at least you tried. At least you came, you saw, even if you didn't conquer, but you came and saw, and so you can always try again. And so I do that a lot of time. And you call it self-love, loving yourself regardless of whether you fail, whether you succeed, whether you are in between, and it works for me. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Tommy. I think I like that. You're not even seeing them. I think that's a very good one, because that's what I think I use most times too. I don't care. I pretend not to see anybody. Of course, I'm not even seeing anybody. So whatever will happen should happen, and I move on. And I like the spiritual angle of when you say the God factor. The God factor is one thing that has been carrying along so well. That okay, God, what can I do? I'm your daughter. I'm your child. You're all and all help, so that the God factor is what really help to cope with fear. And I just built a thick skin. I don't care. I don't care. So that's another one that really helps a lot. So thank you, ladies. Thank our online audience. Thank you for listening, watching. You're always there to tune in to hear whatever we're going to say. I'm so happy I did present here, and also the other ladies are not present at the moment due to one circumstance or the other. I say thank you to all of us, and I'll say same station next week Saturday. We are still here. We will bring another interesting episode that you will enjoy related to women with disabilities, so that we are still teaching the public, we are still teaching ourselves too, we are still sharing experiences. So I thank you so much, and I allow the ladies in the house to unmute their mic and just say bye so that we can shut down. Bye, ladies.
All right, bye. Bye.
is Bold TV.